Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to the first ever Women in Tech webinar. My name is Lydia and I work as a communicator at TietoEVRY. And we will have approximately 40 minutes today, and I hope that when the session is done, you will feel very boosted. And we at TietoEVRY is a very proud co-creating partner for Women in Tech during 2020. But TietoEVRY, who are we? Well, I would describe us as this person that you tend to see wherever you go, that you're thinking, is this person actually following me? We are with you in your mobile bank app. We are with you when you make your online purchase and actually your purchases in any retail store. We are with you at the hospital, in school, at work, and actually also when you're commuting to work. And now when I think about it, we actually sound like the perfect stalker. All jokes aside, what I wanted to say with this is that we do a lot of different things in a lot of different sectors, and we serve customers in over 90 countries globally. We are 24,000 colleagues globally, and in Sweden we are about 5,000 colleagues. And a few of our customers are Klarna, Stockholms stad, H&M and Systembolaget. So we truly are a company with global capabilities, but with a strong local proximity. But enough about us. I want to know who you are that's listening in. So everyone, go into menti.com and type in the code that you see on the screen. And in the meantime, I'm going to introduce the panel of today and my dear colleagues. So hi everyone and welcome to the office.
Hi.
Thank you.
It's very nice to be in an office, right? And move away from the home office. Next to me I have Dilan. Can you please tell me about your role here at TietoEVRY?
Sure. Since the past 2 years, I've been working with business development and design.
Very interesting. And what are you currently excited about in life in general?
In life, I think I'm excited about warm bubble baths after a cold and rainy autumn evening.
My God, that sounds so nice. And next to you, we have Anna Gulliksen, our head of talent acquisition. What's the best thing about your job, Anna?
I think it's so many things, but I think the best with my job is to be able to attract and recruit all those fantastic candidates out there and make them join our great company and work together with us.
Yes, we have a lot of good colleagues.
Yes.
And moving over to this side, I have Malin and Cecilia. And Cecilia Delev, you are our expert when it comes to all things telecom and 5G. Will we be having self-driving cars anytime soon?
Good question, Lydia. Not for a while, I would say, not for you and me, because the infrastructure for autonomous driving is not really there yet. But actually last week there was an interesting pilot starting with self-driving buses in Stockholm by some industry giants.
Very interesting. Things are happening. But overall, has the change towards 5G been as you envisioned?
I think one exciting thing with 5G compared to the previous technologies is that it's very much about the ecosystem and enabling the ecosystem. So the collaboration across industries is a big thing, and that's happening now, actually.
Interesting. And last but not least, Malin, you are our second young professional. What is your role here at TietoEVRY?
I work here as a business consultant and product owner within forestry. And I've been here for about a year and a month now.
Interesting. And what are you currently excited about?
Cinnamon Bun Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
When is that?
This Sunday.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to bake some cinnamon buns and eat a lot of them.
Oh, great. I look forward to that too. So you heard before, I asked our audience to tell us who they are. So we can take a look here at the screen to see. Oh, right. Yeah, we have a lot of young professionals in tech. That is very nice to see. We have some students and specifically students in tech. That's very nice. But a majority is in our young professionals in tech. Very nice. We also have some seniors online. So Anna and Cecilia, you have some friends
So
too.
great to
Thank
have
you,
you
Lydia.
there as well.
Yeah. All right, great guys. So now I have introduced myself, the company that we work for, and all of you guys. So let's dig into the topics of today, what we've seen and what we think will happen in the future. And I am curious to know what has been the most significant change for you all. And the most obvious answer is, of course, that we all have been working from home. That's a major change in all of our lives. But what with these new ways of working has been the most significant change? Dylan, can you please go ahead and share?
I think the most significant change for me has been how I work with my customers. So instead of all the physical meetings and workshops and exercises, I had to instantly get creative and turn them into digital ones. And of course enable the same quality as having the physical meetings. So I think that's the biggest change for me. And really
was it very hard to make that shift, or did it take a lot of time?
It didn't take that much time. We have both so much new softwares out there and new tools that we can use. And the customers are also in the same situation as us. They're also working from home. So they also need to adapt to a new digital way of working. So it was a real good way of kind of collaborating because we were all wanting to collaborate much more digitally.
Anna, were you prepared for this digital shift? Or how was it for you?
No, I didn't expect pandemic. No. And I think that both me and Cecilia works in global teams. So in that sense, it's not that big difference in having the meetings. But I think the very big difference, apart from sitting at home, is that everything in the work life, the social interactions, the meetings, the decisions, the projects, everything goes through this small computer. And I think that, which means that the things that you take for granted when you are at an office, when you take the coffee breaks, or when you chit-chat with someone, or when you can read the body language when having the meeting, all those doesn't come natural. You need to plan for it. So I think that I would say is the really, really fundamental change in this. But I think that looking to having the meetings, I think for us running the global team, this is much better because it's more democratic. Everybody is in the same. Because I just remember when we had our meeting, there were like 5 persons in the room, and then you have maybe 5 persons in another room, and then you have people dotted some everywhere. So now it's on the same premises, I would say.
What do you say?
No, as you said, Anna, I have a global team also, so it does come natural. But I must say that I'm impressed that the change was sort of instant. It felt almost natural. But I think a learning for me personally is that you learn as you go. The first week it was in one way, and then going forward, you tuned in to what you had to adjust to actually make it work. But all in all, I'm actually impressed how we could instantly switch the customer interactions, dealing with everyone, near and far away, from our home office. Impressive.
Do you have any?
Yes, for me, the working with customers is pretty much the same because mine are scattered across the Swedish woods. So that has not been that much different.
Have you been out in the woods seeing them?
Not yet. I was going to go, but then the big sea came, so I
Okay.
couldn't, unfortunately. But it's more working with my team that's been different. We have a team here in Stockholm, so we would sit here, chat. I could always turn around to my colleague and knock her on the back and say, hey, what do you think? How should we solve this? Can I get some help? But now I cannot do that. I'm only at home with my cats, and they can't really give me that answer. So
but they can be a good moral support in some ways also.
Yes, of course, and very fun to show during the meetings, like here's my cat.
That's very good.
So good talking point, but more self-leadership, I would say.
Oh, what do you mean, self-leadership?
I have to take the leadership into my own hands in another way. I have to book some meetings with my customers, with my colleagues, because I cannot turn around. I maybe have to book a meeting with my portfolio manager or with my boss or whatever. Usually I can just turn around and talk to them, but now I don't have that same luxury.
Is this a shift that you see is correlating with when we started to work at home, or?
I would say so, yes, because as I said, I cannot turn around and talk to them, so it's not as easy. So now I have to say, I want to talk about X, Y, Z, and I want to do it at this time.
Yeah,
and I can send a meeting invite. But I can also include other people that I don't usually work with.
Dilan, young professional, do you see this shift too, or have you seen this change that you have to sort of be your own manager in a way?
Definitely. I think that now, when we started working from home, that I am structuring my schedule for myself in a completely other way than when I was working in the office. So really putting up time slots for when I do what tasks. I also book in much more meetings with my colleagues and my leaders to not only get information about the project and work that we're doing right now, but to share knowledge and share or get information about what's happening in the organization and in the company. That's quite hard if you're sitting by yourself in front of the computer. And also I think that I am much more connected to different people around in the organization in another way. So I think it's much easier to reach out to people by booking them in for a time slot than trying to find them in the office building.
Do you feel that people are more approachable, Dylan, in this setup?
Definitely, I think they are. And maybe that has to do with the people in our organization being very willing to help each other. But I feel that it's so much more easier to send just a meeting invite to a senior manager to get knowledge on something or get help on something than try to knock on one of the doors here when they're sitting on meetings.
Cecilia and Anna, do you see a shift in your way of leading the team too?
Yeah, absolutely. And I, as I said, I'm trying to learn as I go, but I've noticed I have some new people in my team as well, and I have to create arenas for everyone to get information. So in some ways I've added some meetings to the week just so that everyone is updated. Because I think if you're new or if you're a new recruit to the team, you have to be pretty brave to get the information, and sometimes you might not even know what you're asking for. So I'm doing more of that, and I'm also doing more of one-on-ones to have an opportunity to to coach and to discuss and to give to be available.
Anna, what do you say?
Yeah, and I think also it's worth mentioning that apart from this big pandemic, we also have merged two large tech companies.
Yes, we have.
So apart from the pandemic, we also merged, which means that if you're just looking into Sweden, two big companies, that we are now 5,000 people, and in the Nordics 12,000 that are also starting to work together and collaborate, and I think that has also been an extra challenge when the pandemic, because suddenly we didn't sit together. We were having all those meetings remote, and so that has been also a challenge, just to get to know each other and to build trust and build a team spirit. So that has been a challenge, and just to share some of the experience when it comes to those meetings, and I can see that the slides are already open. It was quite a because I think that when we are working from home, and I think we have been touching upon this, it's in a way more democratic because we share the private, we share where we are, so to say, and it's also about showing who you are in a way, and as we are also merging this company, and I had this kind of situation this spring, I have had a meeting with the marketing guys, and for those that used to work with marketing, you know that they are always ahead in getting all the gadgets and apps and so forth.
Yes.
So when I joined this meeting, they had like tiger on their head, and they were maked up like cats, and so they look really awesome. And I was, wow, what's that? That looks cool. Okay, Anna, it's just an app, you can download it. So I downloaded the app, and just after I had my weekly meeting with my whole new team in the Nordics, like 25 persons who we haven't worked together that much. And I was sitting in this meeting, and when you have these kind of, it's a quite formal. You're talking about strategy, visions, what is happening with the merge. I mean, that's kind of leader things. And suddenly, like in 10, 15 minutes within the meeting, I suddenly discovered that while I was talking about this serious thing, I was a potato. So I think that my colleagues, I mean, the ones that knew me, they was just, what is Anna's doing now? What is she up to? And the ones that didn't know me that well, they was just
super confused.
What is going on? But we got a really good laugh, and a lot of my colleagues said that this made their day, because it was so fun, and they really got to laugh, and it was really about having quite fun. So you can share that kind of stories as well, working from home.
Yeah, there has to be a lot of, I mean, I remember the week when, everything happened in Sweden, and especially here in Stockholm, there has to be a few hiccups like this. I mean, it's a whole new way of working. But yeah, this is super interesting. Self-leadership and a new way of like leading a team. Have you had any other hiccups, or has it been just a smooth ride for you in all parts?
I think the technical, or I think it, and it is also quite interesting to see. I mean, we are working with teams here, and you can see how they also have progressed in how they have how the tool has developed. I mean, first it was quite hard to have meetings. You could only see like 4 people. Now you can see 9 people. You can raise your hand. I mean, so I guess that we had a lot of challenges when suddenly the teams, just the app went down, or you couldn't speak because the speaker didn't work. So I think we have had quite a lot of those technical hiccups.
Yeah, and I think we also have, just to share my view, is that we have a lot of understanding towards each other, right? We know that, I mean, we're sitting at home, people have not so bad Wi-Fi sometimes, and it's just, that's just how it is. But we have been talking a little bit about the new room, the digital room that we all have entered. Is it more democratic? We talked about a little bit about that. And is it more inclusive? What do you think?
If I start, no, I absolutely think so, because but that assumes that everyone is remote, because otherwise it's not. So from that perspective, you all share the same space, and in a way everyone is invited. So absolutely, if you think about it, if you have a situation when you have, I think you mentioned that before, Anna, if you have some people in the room and some remote, I mean, if you have experience
kind of the
working
situation we are now, when like people are starting to loosen up a bit.
That is the tricky one, because then that can really make you feel excluded. But on the other hand, if everyone is working from home and sitting in their whatever home office, and you share the same sort of situation. Everyone knows it's uncomfortable. Everyone knows it's tiring, and you share the same thing. So from that, and I. Because in my team, I have some people sitting in the same office, and other people, abroad. Now everyone is together in the same room, which I think brings people closer together.
Yeah, I think I can relate to that quite much. My team is not that big, but we are based in both Sweden and Norway. And previously, pre-pandemic, we had separate meetings. So everyone in the Swedish office sat in our office here and talked about what we were doing, and the Norwegian office did the same. Yeah. But now when everyone is on Teams, we have these joint meetings, and it feels like there's no borders anymore between us. We're so much more aligned. We know each other much better. We see each other in hoodies and sweatshirts, which just creates a much stronger relation. And collaboration.
It's definitely more of a global village now. And you, Malin, you mentioned before that this hasn't been too big of a shift, right, for you?
No, not really, because both in our customer teams that are scattered across the woods, we also have our team scattered across both Sweden, Ukraine, and India. So we are a very global team. And it has also been easier maybe now to include people in another way, because we also have 2 offices here in Stockholm, as we have here in the ex-Tieto office. And it's been easier now to invite everyone, because everyone is working from home and it's more acceptable. Because before we also had like separate meetings for more every people and more Tieto people, but now we're more combined.
Very interesting. One thing that I've noticed in this Teams meeting is that we tend to be super silent before, the presenter starts. Everyone is muted and sits very politely and waits. How do we ease up on the corner of the digital room, if you see what I mean? Exactly.
My spaning, I can't find the English word for it, is that has changed, but quite recently. Because now I feel that a lot of people log in just before and do the chit-chat. The chit-chat that you normally do in front of the coffee machines and so forth. And I think that, because that is something that we do miss. I mean, how was the weekend? How is the dog? How is the kids? And so forth. So my spaning, I can't find an English word for it, is that suddenly, but this has came for the last week, that suddenly some people they log in a couple of minutes before, and then we do the chit-chat, because then you are, so to say, aligned to start with the meeting.
And maybe, Anna, also, I think what some of us maybe have been missing a bit, and why it's becoming slightly less formal. I think you need to laugh also. You need to, and I think maybe that's what happens when you log in early.
Or when you're a potato.
Please be a potato.
Yes. We have also moved into each other's home. What do you think this has done to organizational hierarchies?
I think it has, or maybe you want to answer to that one.
Yeah, I'm a bit lower in the hierarchy. No, but I think it's done a lot of change for the way I feel and how I work during these meetings. So before, if you worked with a lot of seniors, they would wear, these blazers and shirts and ties, and that could be quite scaring, at least if you're new in the organization. Now I'm quite used to it, but seeing them in sweatshirts, hoodies, accidentally muting themselves, which is it's a human error. It feels so much more relaxed, and I think I am laughing more, and I dare to ask maybe stupid questions, or just feel a bit more safe. Or seeing their children jump in the background screaming, you realize that they are humans as well. And
very interesting.
I agree with you. You also you see the more human side of a person. You see maybe, as you said, their kids or their dogs or their cats or whatever, and you feel more connected. And the hierarchy is so much more flat now. We also see our CEO Kimmo in like less formal clothes, and he's like just another person. Before, when he came here to the town hall meetings, he usually were very suited up and stylish, and now he's much more relaxed, and you feel so much more connected, because he's just like us, basically.
Yeah, that's so
Malin,
interesting.
maybe that's something that we, once this is over, eventually, to take with us.
Yeah, I think so, because it's so much easier to connect and on a different level, because you don't feel that far away from him in a way.
I actually biked through the city center of Stockholm a few days ago, and I saw a guy in, suit and tie and everything, and I was like, where is he going? He can't go to work. What? Yeah, so it was super. You don't see this anymore.
Did you follow him?
And
Yeah.
it's quite
Like,
fun,
I
because
need to go.
I've seen the quite updates on LinkedIn as well, where people have updated their profile and made the change for the corporate, where you're having this shiny hair and well makeup, to the more, in the morning hair and a hoodie and so forth, because I was on the same theme, that the authentic. So you can see that is also something that comes now with the, and I think, but I think also, and again, I don't remember what spawning is, but again,
just use that word.
yes,
That's
I use
fine.
spawning.
Yeah.
No, but I think that if you want to make it on a more higher with this digitalization, in a way, I think it's much more democratic. But in another way, we have also said that the network is really important. The network and the connection, especially if you're talking about we haven't talked about sales, but if you're talking about selling things, that the network is so, because then because it's quite hard to build new relationships when you do it digitally. And in that way, it's also not very democratic, because that means that the power is within the people who has the network, because you have to drive yourself. You don't get anything.
Again, self-leadership.
Yeah, self-leadership, and also the importance of network building.
But I think that is absolutely a bit of a challenge if you're in sales. In some ways, Dylan, I think you said people are more approachable, and that goes for customers as well. They're also like any of us. But I think you have to be a bit more courageous. But when it comes to the network, then I think we have to be more generous, and we have to share this and introduce people. And I think that is starting to come as well. I'm starting to see that a bit more, and introduce people so that you create these networks.
Yeah, that is something that my leader is doing, is that he connects me with everyone around an organization so I can build my own network. And that has been really important for me in my career. But I also see another downside with the teams or the digital rooms, is that if you are more than 9 people in the Teams room, I think, your camera doesn't show.
No.
And it's so much easier to kind of hide in a huge meeting as well, in comparison to sitting in a room with your leader and your whole team. So yeah, I don't really know what to do about that. Maybe that's something
Contact
for
teams.
contact teams, or that the leader has to take more responsibility to address the ones that are not talking.
I think it's easier to hide hide behind decisions, or don't take any that. So I think that is something. But I think that will be something that you need to address as a leader. And I think also the kind of game rules that you have for the meetings, that normally you have it in the physical meeting, but I think they will be quite important also, how to address who is saying who, and also should we have the camera on or not, and so forth. But I think that it's easier to hide if you are many people in the meeting and you can't see everybody.
But personally, I think it's a mistake to actually translate what we do today to a digital environment, because it's actually very different. When you meet in a room, then you can see if there is someone who's zooming out, or you can include, but that is more difficult. So I've tried actually to break into much smaller groups, and then with camera on, and then it's like you're next door. But another thing that I'd like to from a positive perspective, if I may, is on the inclusive theme, is we have something that we call telecom community, with everyone supporting telecom customers, our telecom customers around the world, and we have a tradition to bring in a customer, voice of the customer, and that in this setting, it's so much easier to bring more people in to listen to what the customer says, and I think that is also a good learning that we can do more of in this situation.
Very interesting, guys. We have been on what is going to be more important in the future, and I would like to talk a little bit about that. We've been looking back on the past few months, but let's look forward a bit. What do you think what will be important from a company perspective? And Dilan and Malin, you are the youngsters here, and I assume you have colleagues and friends in the same age as you. What do people talk about? What is important in the future? What will be more important?
talking from my own experience, when I just started here or pre-pandemic, I cared about developmental tasks and salary and good colleagues. But now, in addition to that, I think I expect and I value transparency so much more from the management and the leadership and everyone around me, and also a good culture in the organization, that I can feel that I can send out an email to whoever booking a meeting, get help or inspiration or mentoring, and so culture, transparency, I would say I would look more for.
But how do we, and I don't expect us to have an answer now, but how do we create a culture that just, sometimes when you walk into a room, you just feel that there is a certain culture, it just sits in the wall. How do we create that in the digital room? Any ideas? That's a tough task.
That's a tough one. Malin.
Yeah, I would say that everyone are very open and honest with each other. And like there's no stupid questions.
Yeah.
So I should be able to go up to the most senior person at this company and ask a question. That should be no problem. And I don't think it is. From what I've seen in this company working here, I can always go up and talk to whoever and say, I see you done X, Y, Z. Can you tell me more about that? And they're like, yes, of course. So we're really open and inclusive. We don't want to keep information to ourselves. And that's super important that we have knowledge sharing and that we really take time for that, because as a young professional, you don't have the same experience, of course, as someone who has worked 10, 20, 30, 40 years sometimes. And I think that's super duper important going forward as well.
For sure. Do you agree, Cecilia, with the values of transparency and so on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you said it very well, Malin. And I think what we talked about before, with being authentic and so on, I think that you mentioned that it comes with that. If you can have a feeling that you can say whatever and you can be yourself, I think that's what we want to have. But also, since things shifted so quickly, I think many of us have started to really value the team, and then of course you have to nourish that a lot and make sure that everyone again feels like they're part of the team and included.
Yeah, interesting.
And in a way, it's easier now when everybody is working from home, because everybody could join on the same premises.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, of course, it's harder because you don't meet, you don't read the body language and all that. So but it's as you said earlier, I think we just need to find how do we do that in the context where we are, so to say.
And maybe no one really knows. You just have to try.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to try. And I think maybe it's better to try than doing nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we have a intranet that we all use, where there's, I think that it's a big part of our digital culture, because we have online communities in different, expert areas or interest areas, or just these ones called geek jokes, where everyone posts.
I think that's the most popular one.
On Workplace.
Yeah, it's the popular one on Workplace. And there's digital meetups, just to kind of connect people together, and everyone sits by their computer and have a workshop together, or just discuss about UX and design, for example. And that people around the organization can post success stories and what they're doing and what they have accomplished. And then, I don't keep track on everything going around in this big organization, but then suddenly I see everything that is happening, and I can give a like or a comment saying good job, or whatever. So I think that's something to kind of enhance the digital culture.
Sort of the informal communities in a way. Yeah, I think that the informal meetups in a company is super important, but that's also, we need to create those new forums too, right? And how do you say, as a leader, How do you boost
Looking at
that?
me?
Looking at you, Cecilia, you're a leader. No, but how do you, as a leader, encourage that? Because that's also part of, the well-being and everything and motivation.
Right. No, started to structure the week, with different types of. There are meetings for different things, but we've started now during the pandemic with like a walk and talk on Fridays, and that meeting is all about. Closing the week, summing up. What are you proud of? We didn't have this meet up before, but that was something that we felt that the team needed. You need more touch points, in a structured way, because it doesn't happen automatically always for everyone. Some people talk, but not everyone. So it was just a way to end the week in a good way.
I see. Very interesting. So we actually asked our audience what they think is important, and I would like to see what they have. So we can take a look at the screen here. And as we see here, we have talked about transparency, trust, culture again is super important, work-life balance, good work environment, good leadership. So I would say that these are also the things that we have been discussing today. I think that, again, people are in the same boat. We're not so different, is what I want to say. Right?
I think, Lydia, one thing that we haven't touched that I saw there is mentorship. But I think, I believe that, both Dylan and Malin, you have experienced good mentorship, and I have for sure. Do you think that's important?
Yes, I would say that's vital when starting on a new company, especially when you're young and you're new in a position. You don't know anything about the company nor the position you have. So it's super important that you always have someone that you can ask and feel super open with, and always has your back, basically. So it's extremely important.
And I think, just to add on, if you look into where we are as a company, we had 1st of September, we had more than 100 grads joining the company. And that onboarding that normally has been here physically or in Oslo or in Riga, were now digitalized. And that also, I think that we are quite good in sending information. We are quite good in sharing information as a company. But I think that what you need to also create, especially when you do it digitalized, is the conversations, the dialogue. And that you can't have that in groups of 100. You need to be much smaller in groups. And I think that is also about sharing the experience, the worries, the what is working, what doesn't, and so forth. So I think that is something that we need to develop. How could you create these kind of arenas, especially for our young people joining the company, so we can make their development and make their own progression as beneficial for them and us as a company, and really utilize that. And that is, I think, is a challenge. It's not a challenge, but you need to think otherwise than you do when you're meeting people.
Interesting. Dylan, what do you say about mentorships and mentors? Is it important?
It's definitely important, especially if you're fresh out from the university, the oven, the uni. No, but as a young graduate, you're so eager, you're so ambitious, you want to go somewhere, you have great plans for your life. And then you really need a mentor who can give you guidance and support and maybe connect you with people, help you reach your goals, even during a pandemic or if we're working digitally.
I'm actually a buddy. I don't know if I would consider myself or are a mentor, but I'm a buddy to a graduate that just started, and it's been super valuable for me too, because they have so much new. They come in with such fresh eyes, so it's a very good utbyte. Exchange. Yes. I want us to be super crisp and clear now. We've had some great discussions about our findings and a little bit about the forecasts too for the future. But I've asked you to share a few tips and tricks for the people who is perhaps thinking of a career in tech. So let's go around the table. Dilan, can you please start to share your tip?
Yes. You can expect your colleagues to be very busy, so be proactive. Book time slots with them to share knowledge, take a simple coffee break, or work on a project together.
Very interesting. They are super busy. I can just say for myself, I feel super busy all the time, and I feel like I'm chasing my colleagues. Anna, please.
Yes, and I think in order to create the understanding and the interaction within the meetings, that always have your camera on if possible. And if it's not possible, always have it on while you are speaking, so to say. So I think that is a good tip. And another one is that most of us are quite productive in the mornings, where we are able to produce and do the things that we need to have done. So maybe try to schedule the meetings in the afternoons. So you plan your day in a more systematic way.
Very good, Anna. Thank you. Cecilia, please.
Energy is very important, and so my tip is dare to care. Make an extra effort to boost your colleagues, because it can get pretty lonely working from home. So really try to boost your colleagues and the people around you.
Very good. And Malin.
Yes, unfortunately, this pandemic is not ending anytime soon. So I would recommend to create a dedicated workspace at home.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there, everyone around you knows that you're working and you should not be disturbed. And also you can relax when you're truly done with work. You can lounge in the sofa or in bed or do whatever, but you don't have to think about the work in the same way because you left it on your dedicated workspace.
That is actually a very good and practical tip.
Yes.
Thank you. What great discussions we've had today. I'm super thankful, and I'm going to try to summarize a bit. Self-leadership, super important for everyone, I assume. I think we all can relate to that. You have to be your own manager in a way, and you have to be more active, right, in approaching people and actually giving from yourself too, to chip in, and values, transparency, and caring, right? So I want to say thank you for contributing, and thanks to every one of you who's tuning in today. And if you are interested in any of our future events, or if you're interested in any open positions, scan the QR code that will pop out in the window in a few seconds. And remember to stay a good 2 meters away from the people that you care about, and take care of yourself, and have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.